Good evening and welcome to another edition of Heartbeat of Holliston. I'm Jackie Hager.
And I'm Chriso Lawless.
Hi, Chriso.
Hi, Jackie.
How you doing?
We are doing awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, it's been a beautiful fall.
Hasn't it been gorgeous? Colors have been amazing this year. I hope people have gotten out and enjoyed some of the beautiful sights around town.
Apple picking, everything. We can do it all.
We can.
Yep. So, tonight we have the 2015 Citizen of the Year recipients, Kathy Shore and Robert Wideneck. We have Dr. Howard Goldberg, and we will have the unveiling of our mystery guest from the last show. We also have some segments about some amazing artists and a behind-the-scenes look at one of Holliston's greatest farms. But first, the news. Holliston Lions Club is hosting Breakfast with Santa on December 6th from 8:30 to 11:30. Enjoy breakfast, entertainment on stage, and of course, pictures. Breakfast with Santa has been a tradition in Holliston for many years.
Heartbeat is proud to have on the show tonight Celebrate Holliston 2015 Citizen of the Year recipients, Kathy Shore and Robert Wideneck. Welcome and congratulations, you two.
Thank you very much.
I was reading your bios. I mean, I know both of you from the show and from different events around town, but it seemed to me in reading these bios that you guys moved to town and dove in feet first, and you haven't stopped since. What gives you your motivation to continue to do all these wonderful things that you do for the town?
It's such a great town. It's easy to give back to this town. It gives to us first.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It is
I mean, if we go through your bios.
Well, Robert, you seem to have had a hand in every sporting field that we've got in town.
Right.
And through your professional work, you've been able to sort of help us out with all of that. The engineering part, I imagine, and all of that. What's one of the hardest things about putting a sporting field together?
It's getting all the pieces together, and, the permits that we have to do, and it's the managing of all that, and going through that permitting process. Understanding what needs to be done. In the case of Commission Field, it was looking at the drainage because that was a historically filled wetland at one time, and then going through and figuring out how to get the drainage to operate well, so it drains well in a major storm.
Yeah.
And it was just after it was installed, there was a major storm right around Thanksgiving.
Right. Yeah. And Kathy, you got into Celebrate Holliston big time, and
it's a great organization. I tell everybody after Christmas, it's like my favorite day in town, so I love it.
That and newcomers and the flu clinics, correct?
That's probably my favorite thing that I get to do. I'm able to take my professional license of being a registered nurse and really, really give back to the town and do a free flu clinic. That's the best thing.
Yeah, I think you must have to have really organized mind to be able to.
Do you consider yourselves organized?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm terribly organized.
I got a list in my pocket right now.
Well, and just a quick question: how hard is it to find volunteers to help you guys?
It's getting harder every year. I think everybody's getting busier. It's still not impossible, and we still have amazing volunteers. But
I think with American in Bloom and the trail, I mean, so many people have come out. I thought it really has turned around once you see how visible things are. With the rail trail, there are so many groups that are coming out.
Yeah,
they're working on it. American in Bloom.
American in Bloom has really, I think, brought some focus to the town for people to understand just how important the volunteerism is and what can be accomplished. Because a lot of people, I think, if they don't have small children, might not go to Celebrate Holliston as much as they did when their kids were younger, or they're off doing other things. But I don't know. I find that the America in Bloom, I know for myself, really brought focus to just how wonderful you guys are, and everything you do for the town is just amazing. Because I sit in my little house and feel like a slug talking to you guys. So just all of those things.
But I do hear you saying that it is harder to find people to commit to it. So that's
It's not that people don't want to.
right.
You know,
It's timing.
It's their so many people are just so busy, and what I find with the rail trail, it's a lot of the older people that are doing a lot of the work, and the younger generations maybe not coming out as much,
Jogging on
and
it.
so
Yeah.
they're out there.
Which is great, but I mean, I
people
think
are busy.
I think you do have to realize that people do work. The 40-hour week really isn't a 40-hour week
Not
anymore.
anymore.
It's 50, it's 60, and they have small kids that they're trying to get home for. So, I think that's a
But the do you think Holliston's unique in terms of the volunteer of the? Oh,
Absolutely.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't let you finish your question, but
No, go ahead. In terms of the involvement of everybody.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're very unique.
Yeah.
I think we're very proud of our town, and it shows.
With the American Bloom, they're amazed that all the other groups that compete against us are all funded by the town, and they're all done by paid employees, whereas Holliston, it's all volunteers.
Yeah.
It says a
We're
lot
very
about
lucky.
it says a lot about the heart of this community, I think, too, that we have. And you're right, we do have a special town. And call me, I'll volunteer next month.
Thank you.
I already signed up to work in American Bloom for next year, so I'm set. So tell us though, what do you do when you're not volunteering? What do you like to do with your downtime, Kathy?
Garden, of course, and cycle.
Okay, Robert.
I have no downtime.
If you had downtime.
It's always working. Like whenever I have hours free, I'll work on the rail trail, do things along that. Or I'll ride with it. My wife likes to ride the rail trail as well. And we used to go to different towns to go on rail trails to ride. Now we just do it within Holliston, which is great.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you both so much for coming
Thank
on.
you for having
And
us.
congratulations.
Thank you very
and
much. It's quite an
clearly
honor.
deserving for both of you. We look forward to next year's winners.
The townwide winter parking ban went into effect on November 1st until March 31st, 2016. The ban will be enforced if there is a forecast of inclement weather or occurring precipitation. Residents are to remove their vehicles from the street, and if not, they could be subject to ticketing or towing.
On October 24th and 25th, the Water Street Mill artists held their annual open studio. The former shoe factory is now home to a number of businesses and talented artists.
I'm Jeff Farad, and welcome to the Holliston Mill Studios. My wife and I moved out here about 3.5 years ago with our 2 daughters, and for the French immersion program here in the Holliston school system. And I found this great space in the mill. At that time, this was all storage. I make larger scale work, so I needed a bigger space, and the landlord at the time, showed me this. It was full of all sorts of old stuff at the time, and so we cleaned it out and made this nice big space so I could do my work.
This free event brings over 20 resident and guest artists together and the community together. Visitors met artists, saw their creative environments, as well as recent and collected works available for purchase. There were works in various media, including oil, acrylic, watercolor, mosaic, photography, and textiles. Families were using the event as an informal art visit, learning art appreciation by talking about the pieces and picking their favorite ones. Each studio provided a comfortable social setting with light refreshments where artists and friends relaxed and discussed their work and techniques. Exploring the controlled chaos of different studios gave an insight into the tools, paints, materials, and inspirations of each artist. There were lively discussions about artist motivations and comparing techniques.
All right, so I'm Michael Frassinelli. This is my work here at the Holliston Mill. I've been working in this series called The Legend of the Pianistas for about 10 or 12 years now. And started upstairs when I had a studio where I take pianos apart and make sculpture out of the various parts, wood, wire, of course there's ivory and ebony. And in the course of making these things, I've started creating objects that look kind of like archival artifacts. And so they developed the history of this fictional tribe or civilization or culture I call the Pianistas. And so it's something you might see in the Natural History Museum at Harvard or the Peabody Essex Museum. And so things are done and often displayed in a way that make them look like artifacts. Some of the recent work include these paintings, and they're kind of inspired by 19th century portraits of Native American chiefs. Currently working on a documentary film about this. We've done live music with instruments that are made out of piano parts, and so it's kind of an all-encompassing series that allows me to do a variety of different art forms.
Sarah Steinecker, a professional cello musician, uses her Water Street Mill studio as a place to practice art away from the distractions of home. Another artist says she outgrew her sewing room and had to indulge her hobby here at the mill. On Sunday, there was a well-attended wine and beer tasting hosted by Crafted of Holliston, merchants of fine imported domestic craft beers and wines. The weekend was filled with great conversation and possibly the perfect piece to add to your collection. For the first time, the Artist Studios will be open during the holiday stroll on November 28th, and it will be a stop on the trolley.
Well, I went to the Open Studios, and it was just as we described, just an exciting, very vigorous atmosphere.
I've been there. I didn't get to go this year, but I do love it, and I think it's just such a fabulous venue, and I love the fact that people are bringing their families there and using it as a museum of sorts, because it's really like that. It's great.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was a wonderful piece. You can visit the website at www.hollistonmill.com.
And congratulations to the Holliston High School Cheer Squad. This small team of 12 students placed first in their division at a competition held in Hopkinton and second overall in the Tri-Valley League. They will be moving on to the regionals for another round of tough competition. Good luck.
On November 12th, the Bullard Farm is hosting a Pilgrim Life presentation. Kristen Haggerty, the Public Programs Coordinator from Plymouth Plantation, will share exciting stories of the daily life of a Pilgrim family. The tickets are $5. Sunday, December 6th, the farm will host a holiday centerpiece workshop. You will make your own candle and greenery centerpiece for the holidays. For more information, go to their website at www.bullardmemorialfarm.org.
Tonight, we premiere a new wellness feature for Heartbeat with Dr. Howard Goldberg. Dr. Goldberg has been in chiropractic practice in Massachusetts since 1983. His chiropractic service offers care for children and adults in a compassionate, healing environment. He uses state-of-the-art, gentle, low-force techniques suitable for babies to the elderly. Welcome, Dr. Goldberg.
Thank you.
Can you tell us about your background and how long you've been here in Holliston?
Yes, I've been in Holliston 25 years. My background is personally, my wife Leslie and I have been married 40 years, just celebrated our 40th anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We did get married when we were 12, but we have 2 children, 2 daughters, a granddaughter, and a granddaughter in 2 weeks.
Oh, congratulations. That's
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Howard, I know you because
Yes.
as a patient of yours, and my family has gone to you many times. Many people are confused about chiropractic, though,
Yes.
right? What is it, and what can it help us with? Can you clear up the confusion about
Yes,
it?
I think I can try. Basically what it is, chiropractic comes down to 4 simple concepts. One is that human beings are self-healing and self-regulating. So what happens if put your hand out here for a second. If I cut your finger, what's going to happen? It's going to heal. If there was a dead person lying there and I cut their finger, what happens? Nothing. Mm-hmm. So there's a life force that heals. In the East, it's called Chi. India, it's called Prana. Here, it's called life force. Chiropractic, we call it innate intelligence. So there's an intelligence inside of us that runs things. The second real simple concept, is that the nervous system controls all functions of the body. Every organ, heart, lungs, liver, kidneys are all controlled by the brain and nervous system. The third thing is that if there's an interference with the proper functioning of the nervous system, not only does it affect our physical well-being, but it can affect mental and emotional issues as well. And the fourth thing is that as a chiropractor, my job is to correct these interferences with the proper function of the nervous system called the subluxations. And that's really what it comes down to. Now what happens is, if you'd like me to continue, is that some of the confusion also comes down to what physically we do to patients. So the older techniques in chiropractic was where you sort of put people in positions of manipulating them, and people would feel pops and cracks and things like that. As time has gone on we don't use dial-up phones anymore, so we're using iPhones and all of that. So chiropractic has grown and developed also. So we use these techniques of these instruments here. There are these different instruments. This thing's called an activator. I use an electric instrument. And basically what it's doing is, if this is a spine, lumbar spine, let's say there's a bone out of place like this. So what we do is use this and just swing it around. So there's very little pain. We adjust people from babies to elderly. And most people think of chiropractors as back and neck pain people, and we do a great job with those things, but we also help people with respiratory problems and digestive problems and all kinds of things. And it's basically because if the innate intelligence of the body is working right, we have the ability to heal. So a lot of times, not with everything, we don't treat everything, but if that particular problem is being caused by an interference with the nerves and the communication system between the brain and the rest of the body, then a lot of times we can help.
That's remarkable. I think people think, oh, I've got a disc out, I'm just going to go have it popped back in. I don't think they understand the concept of the nerves and how it does affect your brain and your neurons.
Would you consider it a holistic type of practice in general?
Definitely. And what holistic really means is that we take into consideration the whole body. So we don't look at just little parts. So we don't look at if somebody's having digestive problems, we look at the reason they're having digestive problems. Is it what they're eating, what they're consuming? And it's not just, so we don't just treat with some kind of medication to just relieve some kind of irritation or pain in that area. We try to look at the cause of it. Mm-hmm. So chiropractors are more doctors of cause than looking at the symptoms. And we deal with symptoms and we get some great results with people's symptoms, but we're really looking at the cause of people's problems. And that's really what we try to approach.
It makes sense, yes?
Yeah.
It does.
It does.
Now, you're going to be our new wellness reporter.
Yes, I'm very excited about that.
What are some of the topics?
What we're going to do is I'm going to give you 5 different topics, and they're not going to be necessarily in order. But the first one is going to be the wellness revolution, and what is it really all about? Because people hear about wellness and what medical people call themselves wellness people, chiropractors call them wellness people. What is it really all about? So I'm going to try to clear up some of the confusion about that.
Yeah, kids study that in school now, but we used to call it whatever. But we used to call it health,
right?
But now it's wellness,
right? So I'm just going to try to, just debunk some of the myths and things like that about it. The next one is going to be facts and myths about nutrition and losing weight, and that's a big one because obviously, everybody wants to trim down. Everybody, no matter what, everybody's always looking to trim down. But there are things we know now about losing weight and about nutrition that 10 years ago we didn't even. Right. Everything is upside down. Where we used to not eat fats. Everything is non-fat. They know now that's not really the right way to do it because our brains need fat to tell us to stop eating, to satiate our appetites. So there's just a lot of things that we're learning now that aren't necessarily true.
That'll be, I think, a really good one for people to understand.
The next one we're going to do is stress. What is it and what can we do about it? So things like, in chiropractic we talk about 3 different types of stress. Whether it be physical stress of some kind of a trauma, a emotional stress of just life stress it could be a job, it could just be some kind of big life stress, or some chemical stress of being exposed to some kind of chemicals, but also what you put in your body, what you're eating and things like that. So those kinds of things stresses the body. And we're going to talk about what stress does to the brain, what happens once we're stressed, and what, in that we're actually, as human beings, genetically, we're made to be able to deal with stress, but just in short spurts, not on an ongoing basis. And on an ongoing basis, it can make us pretty sick.
Yeah. Good. And you'll touch on how to sort of help
Yes,
deal with that, I hope,
definitely,
as well.
definitely, definitely.
Well, I think that sounds
we're gonna-
terrific.
Good.
Yeah.
We have two more things.
Okay.
Okay? How we can exercise with the most amount of benefit at the least amount of time. And that's another new area that's being explored a lot in exercise, is that you don't have to exercise for an hour or longer. You can do short spurts of exercise, and it's really, really beneficial. The last thing we're going to do is talk about longevity, how to stay mentally, emotionally, and physically healthy as we age.
Excellent.
This is going to be great.
Good.
I think it sounds terrific,
Great.
Howard.
So
Good.
we'll look forward to seeing you soon and tuning in to Heartbeat to learn all that stuff.
Terrific. I'm excited about it myself.
On Sunday, November 22nd, from 9 to 3, the Newcomers Club will host its 38th annual craft fair at the high school. Tickets are $6 for adults, $3 for senior citizens, and children under 12 are free. This is their largest fundraiser, with the majority of the funds given back to the community by issuing grants to local organizations. Some of the past grant recipients include PTSA, Friends of Holliston Trails, Auxiliary Police, Fire Department, Police Department, the Public Library, Recreation Department, Special Olympics, Extended Day, and the Agricultural Commission. Check their website for more information at www.hollistonnewcomers.org. This is a great place to pick up your holiday gifts and support your town.
Republic Service will be picking up leaves at curbside the week of November 30th. All leaves must be in compostable bags or loose in trash barrels. Plastic bags will not be accepted. All leaves must be at curbside by 6 a.m. on your designated trash pickup day. If there's any questions, please call the Selectman's office at 508-429-0608. Don't forget, the Marshall Street Recycling Center is also open on Saturdays from 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock for your leaves.
During the November 4th Board of Selectmen meeting, Fran Colantonio, a local resident and businessman, approached selectmen with a proposal to construct a marijuana farm on 200 acres in Hoppingbrook Industrial Park. This would not be a dispensary for medical marijuana. The developers must get a vote of support or non-support from the selectmen before proceeding. If the project advances, developers will have to go before all relevant boards and follow all town regulations and requirements in order to build. The crops would be inside a 50,000 square foot building with a highly sophisticated security system that is like a military installation, according to Colantonio, and will offer the town upwards of $500,000 annually above and beyond real estate taxes in the form of a host agreement. The proposal is to have multiple growers farm here. They must have contracts with one or more registered dispensaries to sell the marijuana. The growing season is 5 months long, and all growing is done indoors under lights. The growers would not use town water to irrigate the crops. Instead, developers will drive deep well that goes below the aquifer that supplies the town for growing purposes. Holliston Reporter has a survey on it right now to gather local opinions. Heartbeat has been told that the selectmen welcome the feedback on this unique proposal. Go to hollistonreporter.com and click on the survey button on the front page. The developers and selectmen will meet again on November 18th in an open meeting in the selectmen's meeting room. You can watch the meeting on HCAT TV or you can attend it.
I recently went to Arcadian Farm and spoke with president and co-owner Christine Shabbat about the history and future of the farm. Let's take a look.
It's a perfect fall day here in Holliston, and I'm at Arcadian Farm. They produce and sell all this great stuff for us here in Holliston. It's one of the oldest working farms in Holliston, and let's go in and find out more about the history and the future of this Holliston landmark.
Good
Good morning. Chris, it's really great to be here. Now, this is a family farm here at Arcadian. Can you tell us a little about the history?
Well, it started out back in the early 1900s when my grandfather came over from Greece, and they settled, him and his brother settled over in Franklin and started a farm. And then through the years, after a few years, he decided it was time for himself to move on. He had met my grandmother. They came out here and they bought this piece of property. Back then, there wasn't much here. It was mostly dairy and poultry. So he started running it and then kept it going.
So he started out with dairy and poultry.
Correct.
Okay. And was this building that we're standing in, was that like an original building to the farm?
This wasn't here.
Okay.
This wasn't here. There was the farmhouse and a small barn next to this one. And then across the street there was a 4-level chicken coop. And, a few outbuildings and this and that. But this here was built in the early 70s when it was basically an add-on to the other barns, when my uncle took it over and had the vision to actually have a real stand versus the roadside shacks. My grandfather would, he had an egg route and things like that, so he would go to Boston with the eggs, and they did the chickens and whatever extra produce they had, they would sell at the roadside stand. That wasn't the main business. And as my uncle started, getting older and starting to take over, prior to my grandfather's passing, he didn't want to take care of that many chickens anymore. And he saw the vision of families coming in and buying the produce or buying value-added products. At that time, he was thinking in the future, maybe greenhouses, flowers, you started to have a lot more development in town. So you had people who needed things for the home, flowers and annuals and perennials and stuff. So he started taking it in that direction.
Well, that's neat. Now, you seem like you've been around, involved in it a long time. Did you actually grow up on the farm?
Yes. My dad had his house, but my brother and I spent probably more time here than we did at our house.
Yep.
My grandmother was still alive. My grandfather passed away when I was a baby, so my grandmother was here, but she was housebound. So we would come and stay, help Uncle Mike, but it was probably more of a babysitting job so my parents could work. And we'd follow him around and help him out and pick beans and do whatever house chores and stuff. So literally this was where we spent most of our time.
Did you always think you wanted to be a farmer?
Always.
That's really interesting. What makes farming is hard work, long days. What's a typical day like, and why do you do it?
There is no typical day. You get up with the sun or before the sun. Any number of things can go right or go wrong. Your day is long. Yeah, it's long. You get up, you pick what you have to pick, setting up the store and things like that. But having grown up here, I enjoyed that. And you always felt like you were going to miss something if you weren't here. At least I did. If you weren't out like where the boys were or where something was going on or the older workers, you were going to miss something. You had to be here. When you grow up outside, you want to be outside. And it doesn't matter if it's a farm or construction or whatever the case may be. I'm just not an indoor person. I got my jobs, I got paychecks, but I always came back here. Mm-hmm. Whether it was to help Uncle Mike with the apples or help him in the fall time as frost was coming or help him in the springtime with the flowers. I could say, okay, I can get my week's vacation over there. That's nice, but I can come here and work. And, my bosses at the time would laugh at me and say, you're going to work on your vacation. And I'm like, yeah, but it's fun. There's no set anything. Like I said, anything could happen in a day. Some days you come in and we had a bunch of rain and the corn might be washed out. You say, okay, well, that really stinks. And you probably say a few other words, but you go on and you just, okay, the kale came out great. So let's see what we can do with that. And to me, every day is different. When you sit in an office, some people can do that. When I was sitting in an office, every day was the same. And it drove me berserk. It just absolutely, I just couldn't do it. So to get outside, whether it was doing this or doing whatever, I chose this more over anything every time.
So farming is a good way to grow up.
I think so. I mean, how many places can you roll out of bed, don't have to worry what your hair looks like, what your clothes look like, you get dirty, you play in the mud all day, and you can eat well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard work, but I mean, when we were kids, we'd have tomato fights, we'd have apple fights, and we'd get yelled at a lot, but, we'd have more fun than anything. That's what kept me coming back to it. That was the fun part of it. And you have to look back at those memories and laugh. Does it happen every day here? No, but not anymore, not as much, but I still hold on to that as a kid.
That's really, I love hearing your stories. What are the challenges of farming in Holliston today, of a farmer today?
Competition. We're fortunate in Holliston. We have a lot of farms. We're a farming community, but we also have a supermarket within 10 minutes of every direction that you go. So between supermarkets, your box stores, everybody sells pumpkins today. Everybody sells mums today. Everybody sells your annuals today. So the competition is very tough. It's how do you get people to come in and keep them coming back?
So how do you do that?
I don't know. I'm still struggling with that. You try and differentiate yourself. You try and put out a better product. You try and educate your consumer and say, this is what you're getting here. It's something that I grew, or it's something that I know who grew it. It's something that if it goes wrong and it goes bad, I will take care of it. And then being available, being around, being an owner, being someone that someone can come and talk to me as an owner and say, I had a problem with this. You go to Shaw's, if you have a problem, they send you to a customer service desk. You might get someone there, you might not, you don't know. You might have to wait 20 minutes, and then they'll have to talk to their manager and their manager and their manager. Someone can come talk to me. Just like my uncle would be available if someone had a problem, they'd come say, hey, Mike, that bushel of apples you gave me, man, there were some bad ones.
That would never happen here. I think never. People also, I think there's a huge movement now for that local farm to table.
Yes.
And I think that's something that keeps people coming back to all of our farms here in Holliston.
Yes.
So you want to give me a couple of other thoughts on that? How has that helped the business in the past 20, 30 years?
People are coming back to the farms. People are coming back to wanting to know where their food is coming from. They know that they don't want to buy something with a sticker on it every day. But when you have the time to come in and get something that was locally grown, people are really trying to make an effort to do that. And that's the exciting part of it now, because you're getting younger people who are really just trying to do that more and more. If they can't do it this week, they do it next week. Or, they might come here and they might go to Outpost, or they might go to Outpost, or they might go to another farm and they won't come here. But they went to a farm. Mm-hmm. Versus going to a supermarket. So, they're coming back to it, and it's an exciting time. Exciting to see little kids actually find out where an apple comes from again. Where we lost that for quite a few years. We, as a society, we lost that. So seeing that come back is a very good thing. Obviously financially and to keep us in business, but it's also a good thing to see little kids knowing that there's an apple tree, or take them out and show them what a kale plant looks like, and show them what they're eating and why they're eating it from here and not from some package that's wrapped in a supermarket.
Now we're standing in the future of Arcadian Farm. Tell me a little bit about how this building got started, and what do you plan to do with it?
Well, it got started. We wanted to expand where we're at. Unfortunately, sometimes, an old building that, when my uncle built that, it's been 40-something years. It's almost cheaper and easier to start new. So in order to stay in business, to stay in the farming business, you have to stay current with society. Society says mom and dad are both working and busy, the kids are busy. They need, meals to go. They need salads to go. They need to grab and go. They want one-stop shopping. So we have to change and kind of update along those lines.
What kind of products do you envision coming over here?
I think at some point what we'd like to do is move into like prepared foods, utilizing what we grow. Eggplant parm, salads, sandwiches, things that people can take. They know that it was made with stuff here on the farm. Take it home. They know it's, a list of 5 ingredients, not 35 frozen, whatever ingredients. And they can grab it and they can throw it in the oven, heat it up, feed the kids, get to the ball game, and still be back in time to do homework and stuff. So, again, it came about just staying current with society, with our customer base. That's how Holliston has changed. That's how our society has changed. So we as farmers have to learn to change every once in a while. We're just usually a few years behind, that's all.
I don't know. I think you're right on the cusp of what people want to do. Are you you used to have a cider mill here. Is that something you think about starting up again?
I'd love to do that again. The cider mill was an awesome thing, although if you press cider a number of times, you probably learn to hate it, but it was, it was always cold and wet. There's nothing you could do, but to press our own cider, I would love to do it. The basic presses today are no different than what I grew up doing and what my uncle bought 40 years ago. So yeah, at some point I would love to do it again, just for nostalgic reasons, probably more than anything.
What's better than local fruits and vegetables? An Arcadian farm has it all. This is Chris O'Lawless for the Heartbeat of Holliston.
That was a terrific segment, Chriso. I love Arcadian Farms, and I'm so looking forward to their new store opening and seeing what they're going to bring to the town as things go. And she's spot on about farming, and it was so wonderful to.
We're really fortunate to have such an interesting farm in our town. And she said to me that she's going to open up in 2016, so stay tuned.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah. The farm stand is open year-round, though, with baked goods, dairy products, fresh fruits and vegetables every day.
The American Red Cross, along with the Holliston Fire Department, will be installing free smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors in Holliston on Saturday, November 21st. This event is part of the Red Cross's 5-year National Home Fire Preparedness campaign to reduce fatalities and injuries from home fires by at least 25% by 2019. Locally, this event is being coordinated by Holliston Fire Chief and Emergency Management Director Michael Cassidy and Linda Marshall, Outreach Coordinator for the Holliston Senior Center and Council on Aging. They will be visiting, by registered appointment only, single-family homes built before 1975. The Red Cross, along with volunteers from Holliston Boy Scout Troop 73, previously canvassed a section of Holliston, leaving door hangers inviting residents to call for appointments. Residents can call 508-429-0622 to register for free installation.
Last week, we had a very special mystery guest for our Halloween show. We grilled the ghostly figure with questions and asked viewers to call or mail in with their best guess. The first 10 correct answers would win a special prize. We were flooded with calls. And thank you to all those who emailed or called in for this contest. Without further ado, our mystery guest was, yes it was, John Paltrineri. We'll contact the winners after tonight's show to let you know where to pick up your prize, and keep watching for our next mystery guest. Now, we've brought John back tonight to talk about the Holliston Business Association's annual holiday stroll. Welcome back, John.
Thank you.
First, you did a great job being the mystery guest, and Melissa and Paul definitely never knew who that was you under the sheet.
No.
So, thanks a lot. So, what's new with the holiday stroll this year?
Well, this year we've got some new events happening. Every year we've tried to grow it a little bit and add some new nuances to it to make it more fun for the whole community and for kids of all ages. Some of the newest items this year is the Upper Town Hall. We're going to have entertainment running basically from about 12 o'clock to about 5:30. We have Dancing Arts Center performance. We have a bagpipe player opening the whole venue. The Yoga Exchange is going to be there. Also a magician coming in. And we have Irish step dancers performing twice.
Nice.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. That's going to be running in the afternoon. And along with that, we're having a special raffle to win a decorated Christmas tree, holiday tree. Now, Many of the businesses that are partaking in the event this year will be donating a finished tree that's going to be set up at the town hall, and townspeople will be able to buy raffle tickets to basically vote on the different trees and try to win one of these up there at the town hall. And the monies will be used by the HBA to purchase something for the town. So that's going to be a little fundraiser we're going to do. Also, the Big Shoe, which is the mill building, is now taking part. We have 6 of the artisans down there are going to be involved in the event this year. We have one of the trolleys stopping there on its trolley route, so that's going to be exciting, and we're glad to have them part of it now. Also, we have a candlelight procession that starts at 5 o'clock from the parking lot behind my store, FIS, with we'll have electric candles, where we hope a lot of townspeople get together and we do a stroll down Central Street to the tree lighting event.
Oh, yeah.
And we should have this led by Girl Scouts singing Christmas carols.
Oh my
so
gosh,
that's going to
how
be cute.
wonderful.
Yeah. So that's some of our new events. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
And this is going to be November 28th, correct?
November 28th. It's going to run from basically 11 a.m. till 6 p.m.
Perfect.
And of course, there'll be music next door from my store at Jasper Hill. There's going to be Girl Scouts caroling around town. Santa comes to town at 3 o'clock as usual on the fire truck, and he reads The Night Before Christmas to the children. And there'll be lots of raffles and food, and it's going to be a great day.
Just another wonderful example of our town.
Yep.
That's
Which
right.
is-
A real community event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds wonderful.
And how many years has the stroll been around?
I think this is 14.
Wow,
14.
That
Yeah.
went by fast. Because I remember when it was just a little event, just
Yeah.
a
Right.
You know,
It started
when it first
small.
started.
It
Yeah.
started small, and it's been growing every year. When it first started, I think it was Donna Cady, myself, and David Hofstetter, who was the then president of the HBA. We got together and decided to do it. And it was suggested by some other townspeople to do something like this. And over the years, it's grown dramatically. When John Drohan took over the HBA, he really fired it up and brought it to where it is today, along with, of course, Diane from the Grapevine is on the committee.
Yep.
Kristen from eMotion Computer is on the committee. Stacy Raffi is always there, and Donna Cady and myself. So basically, it's the 4 of us have been working on this. We actually started working on it back in July.
Yeah.
So it takes that long.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think the entertainment will be great because people always love to see free entertainment
Oh,
and
yeah.
arts, and I hope that they will support all our local merchants too. That's
Well,
the
I
key.
think they will. I
Yeah.
think they will. There's
They
going to
better-
be a lot of deals going on all around
Good.
town.
Yeah, and that's what's so great about having the mill open too.
Yeah.
So if people
Yes.
didn't get to the open house, then they
Well,
can go
correct.
back.
I bet
and-
you're going to get your store stocked with lots of toys. Okay.
Oh, it's stocked.
Especially Legos.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit of everything. yeah.
Good. Well, I know I'm looking forward to it, and it's always a good time.
We end tonight's show with a Guess the Identity feature. Can you guess who this handsome chap is? The first 10 correct answers will win a special prize. Call into the station at 508-429-8979 or email your guess at office@hcattv.org. We will air the correct answer on the next show. The first 10 viewers who reply with the correct answer will be notified on December 8th. Good luck.
Well, that's a wrap for this show. Let me remind viewers that you can watch Heartbeat of Holliston every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 7 p.m. on Channel 8 on Comcast and Channel 32 on Verizon. The show is also televised at other times. Check the HCAT schedule.
You can also watch us on any electronic device with video on demand at www.hcattv.org. Click on video to find us. You can even stream us live on your cell phones. If you don't get email blasts from HCAT TV, you can. We send out announcements when new shows are scheduled to air. Please contact us by email at office@hcattv.org or call 508-429-8979. With an e-blast, you'll never miss a show you want to watch.
And keep sending in your comments and ideas at hoh@hcattv.org. And please let us know of any news items you would like us to air. One last note, send us your photos and videos of interesting scenes, sites, and activities in and around Holliston. Good night, Holliston.
Good night, Chriso. you.